You point to the idea of nook and cranny gardening, is what we call it here, because we have to work with the nooks and crannies. And so if we can create a flat spot to do some more contemporary type of stuff, then hence all our roof spaces are nice flat spots.
Yeah.
And we try and use them to the best ability we can. So for example, we've got our roof, we have squash hanging down to the ground. Squash are 30 feet long hanging off the roof.
Whoa.
We got 120 squash off this roof this year. And what we have is we have one of our rainwater systems. It irrigates it, and then as the water irrigates it, we have this nitrogen-rich water that flows off through the downspout, through the hidden eave, and it comes down into this blue rain barrel here.
Okay.
So this now becomes compost tea. This compost tea we use inside the food forest that's in behind us.
Hi, welcome to Peak Moment. I'm Janaea Donaldson. I'm in the Highlands outside of Victoria, BC with folks that you've seen before. I'm with Anne and Gord Baird because you toured their EcoSense house, which is a zero net energy, owner built. I mean, it's like the greenest, owner built, right? I mean, the greenest modern house, perhaps, in the world. Thanks for joining us again. This time, 3 years later, we're looking at what they're doing for food production. Because at that point, they had, what, three little beds, right?
Yeah, we were just getting started.
A lot has changed. So tell us what you've been doing.
Well, we've been really busy growing a lot of food, and we've been trying to landscape in a way that we create edible landscaping and regenerate the biodiversity that was once present on this land, and do it in a way that fits our needs and nature's needs for mutual benefit. And the chickens was a really big part for us because we love chickens and we love eggs and really wanted their manure too.
I was going to say this fertility, that that would be important.
And so
great rototillers.
They are great rototillers. So we wanted to give them a really safe chicken house because there's a lot of predators around like minks and eagles and things like that, but then give them the run of a large piece of land. And you know, it's a lot of work to go out and buy all their food all the time. So keeping with our theme, we wanted to try to grow as much of their food as we could.
That's right.
Right here on this piece of land.
To do for them as you're trying to do for yourselves.
Yeah.
Grow as much as you can right where you are.
Yeah, so we were starting with a piece of land that had a lot of thistles and blackberries. So we've been working with that, and the chickens are amazing for adding fertility to the land. And they do all the rototilling too, so you don't have to do that.
Great, great. So start us out. We're at the chicken place, right?
Yep, this is the chicken coop right behind us here.
Okay.
And it's actually an off-the-grid chicken coop.
Off the grid. Okay,
Yes.
so there's solar panels that to do what?
Well, solar panels, tiny little solar panels, and a charge controller here, and used car batteries under the chicken coop. And what that does is it powers an LED light inside on a timer. And the timer comes on in the winter to extend their daylight hours so that they lay eggs all winter.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, and then in the summer we operate a DC fan, so they have really good indoor air quality. So that's important for the health of a chicken.
Oh wow! I mean, I've never thought about that.
And one of the neatest features of this chicken coop is actually the living roof up here. Not only is it beautiful and it's habitat replacement and it's all planted with native plants, but it's also a living mini watershed for filtering the rainwater from the chickens.
Okay, so the rain comes down, it gets filtered through the living roof, and then what?
Yeah, and goes through these improvised gutters, a lot of recycled materials here,
Oh yes, of course.
into a storage tank.
So there's the rainwater filtered.
Yep, and it's a used storage tank as well.
Salvage everything if you can.
Used, right?
And then that goes into for water for the chickens.
Chickens have the bad habit of standing the wrong way around in front of their drinking water, right? So you got to clean it a lot. And so we've got a recycled stainless steel sink, and when we clean that, it goes at the water, which is now gray water, right, with nutrients in it. It goes and it waters a mulberry plant. And the mulberry plant is a primary forage plant for chickens. It's going to grow up and produce a lot of food for the chickens. So that's all connected to rain.
You've got a closed loop.
It's a closed loop.
Everything feeding the next part, the next part, the next part, all the way from the mulberries, which the chickens will feed on and come back and poop, and here we go again.
Yeah, we never have to clean a gutter. So we try to create systems that work with natural systems, and they're simple and they work for everybody, so it's win-win-win.
Well, I want to meet them.
Well, we have to take them a bouquet then.
Oh.
I've got some kale.
Lovely.
Okay. Here's the chickens.
Hey.
They know the kale's coming.
Oh, look at you. Yeah. Lunch.
Look at the water dish here. A couple of them sitting there. They're standing the right way around it right now.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right, because they're not standing in their own poo. Right, and that comes from the rainwater barrel?
Yep.
Okay.
And then when I drain it, it drains out there and waters the mulberries.
So this is this is the chicken coop. That's where they nest, where they have their eggs and so on?
Yep.
Yep,
And we
so-
lock them in here at night,
Okay.
so they're safe in here. And then during the day, they have the run of the whole fields.
Yep, and up here is where they come out and hang out during the daytime.
And
At least we hope they hang out during the daytime.
Okay.
they come in and lay their eggs in there.
So, because Ann and I don't like doing any hard work, we tried to design the chicken coop so it was really easy to look after
And easy to clean.
and easy to clean. And so what we have is we've got the laying boxes on this side. So it's really nicely set up because their roosting area is on the far side of the chicken coop, and the roosts are staggered so they don't poop on each other's head. But when they come in at night, they poop on one side of the chicken coop,
On one side. Okay, that side.
on the far side.
Right, right.
And then when they come in to lay their eggs, they don't have to walk through the poo to come in and lay their eggs. So the eggs stay cleaner. They stay, and everything is easier to clean because you only have to clean one section at a time. And it's insulated because you got to keep them warm in the wintertime.
Oh yeah, good. I see that. You got thick
Yep.
doors and insulation in them. Right. Okay.
Nice and simple
Wow. And clean.
and clean. It doesn't smell.
I noticed that. I noticed that. You're really doing a lot to make sure that the manure is sort of channeled to where you want it.
Yep.
Right. To fertilize what you want and keep them clean while you're at it.
Yeah, and around the front too, we've got that great big door that opens up so you can get right in there with the wheelbarrow and just dung it out and
And you're done with it.
dung with Let's go see the chickens. There they are. I'm always popular with them.
I can bet.
I always sit
No,
here
I don't
and
have any. Can I
spend
have
a bit
one?
of quality time with the chickens.
Here you go. Here you go. You want a little of that?
I've actually planted a whole bunch of kale for them in here.
Really?
Yeah.
In here?
Yes.
In the grounds?
Yeah.
Well, that really... I can see you're the most popular person in the place.
Well, it's important for me to have healthy chickens and happy chickens. So we've got 14 hens and 1 rooster.
I was doing a consult, and the rooster followed me around while I was doing a consult, and so I asked if I could take him home.
Oh.
They let you
yeah.
take him.
They let me take him home.
He fell in love with a rooster and brought it home.
Well, I expect that that's part of keeping the balance here.
Yeah, he is such a gentle rooster. He's amazing.
Yeah, because last night on the farm was spent sleeping with the newly born baby goats.
Oh.
He was cuddled. They found him cuddled up with the baby goats.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. Nice.
You knew he was a special one.
Yeah.
So what's the story with the whole
Everything
metal
has a
pipe
story,
plants here?
right?
What's this?
Well, we have a lot of birds of prey around here, like eagles and hawks and things like that. And that's one way to protect them in the field, because it's important for us that chickens get to run around and be chickens all during the day. So we actually put it out to our online list that we needed some of these plates, and the same day a whole bunch arrived, and we were able to hang them up all over the place. And what they do is they reflect the light, and they're just kind of really annoying. As you can see, they're really ugly and annoying.
Okay.
But it's
Kind of
really
the same as hanging a
distraction.
husband off there.
Yeah.
So shoo. So
Exactly.
So it's working.
Yeah, they catch the light, and absolutely, we haven't lost one since we did that.
Oh, brilliant.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. Brilliant.
So a way to solve the problems,
Nice.
simply.
Nice. So there's berry bushes in here. There's a pile of dead branches. There's a living tree.
Actually,
What do we
that's
have?
the mulberry that the chickens' gray water waters
Oh.
when we empty their sink. And that's one of the primary forage plants for chickens.
So they when it gets big enough and you allow them in,
Actually, it produces an incredible berry crop. Mulberry, this mulberry will get to be quite a wide bush, and it produces a ton of berries, which are highly nutritious both for people and the chickens.
Okay.
And it also gives them some shade and more protection from the predators, because chickens are naturally forest birds. And so
They are?
they are. They
I
don't
didn't know
like
that.
open fields. We always put them in open fields. But they like running around in the forest. So we're trying to create an improvised food forest in this previously impacted site. So if you look under the blackberries, look at all the tunnels they have
Oh
under
man,
there.
yes. It's sort of like what you see when cattle, on trees, it gets up to the cattle eating level. Well, I see it. You got the run of the place, haven't you, girls? Yeah.
And so they eat a ton of blackberries in there too. There's still a few left here. There we go.
Oh my. Well, that just didn't last very long. Happiness.
And it's October.
Wow.
Yep.
Here you go, girls. There's another one.
You want to see a jumping chicken?
A jumping chicken. You're good. Well, that's fun.
Isn't that so fun?
Oh, I love it. Now I know what I can
They're
do.
really
is
friendly.
Come back and visit the chickens and do some blackberry eating.
So we've got some other plants that we're growing in the chicken run as well. We've got a fig tree, and we've got a bunch of hazelnuts, and even a plum tree, and that's all watered with gray water from the house. The systems are all
From
connected.
the chicken house.
From
No,
our house.
From your
our
house.
From our EcoSense house.
Really?
Yep. The pipes were already buried in the ground, incomplete system, so we just worked with what was here
Yes.
to improvise and figure out where the pipes are. Gord did a lot of
Right, I
divining
bet
for
you
plastic
did.
with a shovel.
Yes. Yes. I know that act.
Yeah.
So those trees in this area as well.
Yeah.
More food.
Yeah, they're on the other
more
side of the
forage
blackberries.
for them. Okay.
And
okay.
a fig, yeah. And so once again, those are going to grow up and create canopy to protect the chickens. Chickens love figs. We like figs. Everybody wins.
Everybody's yum. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what's this? You've got a couple of there's what, deer fence or whatever, a couple of yards?
Yeah, we've got 3 what we call chicken fields in here. And what we're doing is we're rotating the chickens through. Right now they just have access to that one in front of you.
This one.
Yep.
Okay.
And so they've been in there digging away. And in this one over here, we've got I've got a bunch of winter wheat planted in there. And also some fall rye planted in this other ones. And the chickens rototilled the fields for me.
So they did the rototilling.
Yep.
You went and planted.
Yep.
Both of these, and now you've moved them to here. Now will
Yep.
they be here all winter?
Yep, they'll be here all winter. And we're actually going to be trimming a couple of trees in there to get a little bit more light.
Uh-huh.
And then we'll be planting buckwheat, which is another primary forage plant.
So are you having to supplement any of their in the winter with some extra grain or
Yes.
anything
We are
else?
doing that. We're just starting to study how much food that we're able to produce for them.
And watching
with
their
our-
food consumption go down. So rating it to the number of chickens we have compared to how many eggs we're getting a day to how much food, how often we fill up their food hopper inside. And so I know from the quality of their eggs and the color of the yolk that they're getting a lot of bugs.
Okay.
You can tell
sure,
that.
Sure.
So last year in this field, we grew a ton of quinoa in here and a bunch of corn. So we took the best heads of the quinoa and the best heads of the corn, and then I let the chickens in. And they got the rest of it. And they just cleaned it up, and they left the field looking like that. And because I had all these stalks still sticking up, they were able to run around inside the canopy of all these stalks and leaves, and it was protection for them again.
Great. Yeah, I love the whole sense of the multi-use, the multi-aspects of both what you're growing for, all balanced around them.
It's all connected. We're connected to the chickens are connected to the land, we're connected to the land. The ecosystem is actually increasing here. The biodiversity is increasing compared to what it was. When we started here, 8 years ago, this was a pretty decimated place with just thistles and blackberries. That was
8 years ago today we met.
8 years ago today.
Well, congratulations, happy anniversary, and wow.
Seven and a half years ago we were married.
Well, that's one thing I see about the two of you, is that you do not let too much moss gather on top of whatever it is you're up to with current adventure. I expect you to be totally self-sufficient in food, or 90%. You probably are almost right now.
Not
80?
quite, but
Give you a couple years.
yeah. But we
That's our
try to
goal.
create networks with other people that are doing other things, and we can't just be sustainable by ourselves. We have to create community around that and share and trade.
Different people are better at different things. So you just make sure that you've got a community around you that has that full complement of skills.
Yeah, like not everybody's going to set up this kind of chicken
Sure,
situation.
sure.
But with this, we could actually have a lot more chickens, feed a lot more chickens, and then share, trade, whatever.
Right.
With eggs. I love sharing things. Makes me feel good.
And I will tell you all, is that we've been eating some of these chickens' eggs, and they are really divine. And we're picky. I mean, eggs are an important part of our diet. It's like, they're happy, and so are we. When we first arrived, I noticed this sweet, hobbity kind of building. It's really very attractive and warm looking. And so, what is it?
Well, when we have school groups here, we actually tell them that it's our house. You should see their faces.
Really?
Yeah, honestly.
That's a small footprint.
It is, yes.
Funny.
But it's actually a very beautiful little building, and it's our root cellar.
Root cellar.
Yes.
Okay.
Normally people dig a hole down in
yeah.
the earth to do that, but we live on a rock here that's very difficult to build on, and it hasn't got a lot of soil and stuff. So what we did, instead of digging down into the earth, we built the earth up to build our root cellar. And so it's connected to the earth on a piece of bedrock, and it has a living roof, and it's actually made out of earth, clay, sand, and straw.
Nice.
In the same way as our house. So it's a very symbolic root cellar for us. Not only can we store all of our food in there, we also decorated it with some creatures that we share the land with. Like there's a tree frog, which is above the door. And actually when we were building, there was a little tree frog that liked to sit on the little door.
Oh,
So it's very
love
symbolic.
it.
But that's an amphibian, which is an indicator species of an ecosystem. They're very sensitive. And
Kind
so,
of like redheads.
yeah.
Like redheads. Yeah.
And so if we harm our ecosystem, a frog is going to be like the first one to show the signs, right? And so we share this land with the frogs. We also share this land with different rock lizards, which are our lizard, or they're a reptile. So they're also very sensitive indicator species. And we have lots of those on this piece of land too, especially in our gardens.
Aha!
And they eat little slugs and stuff, so they're great.
So you're happy that
Absolutely.
you've got
And they're
plentiful here.
They're beautiful. And this is a dragonfly, which we also have lots of. Now, it's one of the most ancient flying insects that we have. It's been around virtually unchanged for millions of years. And so it's a symbol of being resilient. And these are all values that are really important to us. So we wanted to decorate our root cellar with species that are important to this piece of land, and to show that we can develop our own land that meets our needs in a way that actually is mutually beneficial to the ecosystem.
It also feels to me that in part you're calling in the other allies from the animal world through them to welcome them here, to be totem animals, whatever, to really symbolize that symbiotic relationship that you're building with everybody here.
Yeah, it feels good.
We have a few symbiotic relationships inside too.
Oh, let's see.
So, one of the first symbiotic relationships is Anne's been making cheese. So we store our cheese, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and what else for a symbiotic relationship? We grew our first sweet potatoes this year.
Oh my goodness, no. That is a sweet potato?
That's a sweet potato.
That's a record. I can't believe it's that
Isn't that
big.
big? You'll see where we grew it.
All right.
We're not supposed to be able to grow it in this climate.
Congratulations. Obviously, you are building friendships.
And other friendships, this is also our beer.
Oh, good.
So, and we've also got, we've been doing a lot of our own fermenting, and so we've actually got fermenting vegetables in here as well. So these are basically sauerkrauted vegetables. We do kimchis and sauerkrauts. So rather than using the energy to can, we do them as ferments and put them in here to store them.
And from what I read, they give you far more nutrition than even the raw vegetables were by
Absolutely.
themselves. So you're amplifying your
Yep.
your nutritious value.
You've got a
here.
whole ecosystem. Then it's just everything works together. It's better for your belly. There's more nutrition. You have better access to the nutrients inside the vegetables.
Grand. Oh, thanks for the tour. It's what I noticed is it has a very clean, earthy kind of smell here. Not moldy, but just damp and clean.
It is.
It's a nice little. I could imagine it'd be a nice little hidey place, particularly in a hot summer day,
Oh, yeah.
come visit now and then.
Well, you can come and visit in the hot summer days, and we'll hang out in here and
Drink beer
And eat cheese.
and eat cheese. Yes. Nibble carrots.
we can root around.
No. Oh. I loved this way of putting the tools on the side of the building, and then I realized this building was not quite what I might have thought it was, the shed. And what tell us about this.
Well, it's a recycled steel container, which is a really useful place to store your stuff. You know, staples and stuff like that, chicken food, all that kind of thing. But on the outside of it, there used to be a shed here, so we resurfaced the outside to make it pretty with the old boards.
Nice.
And we really are trying to increase our amount of land that we can grow food on.
I'm going to interrupt you and say that's really a hard job, and because most of this is rock. What I see, you're sitting on top of a rock knoll.
Yes,
And
we
so
live on a rock.
What you're doing is converting every little corner that you can, including this flat space that the shed was on. I mean, it's part of what I want to emphasize is you don't have the perfect, tillable agricultural land.
No, we don't.
Okay, I interrupted you, but I want people to know that there's rock everywhere.
And so a living roof, if we put one up there, is an excellent spot to grow more food. And it's also protection from different predators like rodents and things like that. But the last 2 years we've actually grown squash up here on this roof. And it was easy to get the materials up there because we took some old hay bales, we put a little bit of chicken manure, a little bit of goat manure. And we.
We. Are you the royal we? You crawled up there and did all that. Okay.
We helped.
Okay.
We helped him.
Yeah, so what it does is you point to the idea of Nook and Cranny gardening, is what we call it here, because we have to work with the nooks and crannies. And so if we can create a flat spot to do some more contemporary type of stuff, then hence all our roof spaces are nice flat spots.
Yeah.
And we try and use them to the best ability we can. So, for example, we've got our roof. The roof doesn't have the things hanging off it that it had earlier this year, which we had squash hanging down to the ground. Squash were 30 feet long hanging off the roof.
Whoa.
We got 120 squash off this roof this year.
Yeah, we're storing them in the freezer right now.
We'll take a look at that. Obviously, we looked at. I mean, it's a sunny spot.
Sunny
It's
spot.
probably happy.
Yep, and what we have is we have one of our rainwater systems that irrigates it, and then as the water irrigates it, we have this nitrogen-rich water that flows off through the downspout, through the hidden eave, and it comes down into this blue rain barrel here.
Okay.
So this now becomes compost tea. And that compost tea now is, because this is where I do all my propagation, we're just starting a propagation business as part of this, of what we're learning. This compost tea we use inside the food forest that's in behind us.
Oh, nice.
And so that's how we get things established initially with some compost tea that is a wastewater that comes off this living roof.
I love it. Let's see. I would like to see what you're doing with the food forest.
Okay.